I think it's useful to look at well-being or success as a volume. And I think a reasonable analogy or metaphor for that volume would be a cube. Now, the reason I think it's useful to look at this dynamic as a net volume rather than as a specific goal is you could say that the height of this cube is the moment-to-moment enjoyment. It is incredible how dynamic and big this range is. I mean, there are people who literally are present and enjoy almost every single moment. They feel every moment. They grieve losses, they're excited, they enjoy a delicious piece of food, they enjoy breathing, they enjoy seeing things. And there are people that are completely and utterly tuned out to, I wasn't really there, I didn't really notice, I didn't really enjoy, I'm not sure exactly how I feel. So there's a very high and low point on that continuum that represents hundreds and hundreds of percent of variation. I mean, there are people that are a 10, and there are people that are a 0.2, barely present, barely alive, and not enjoying anything while they are. So that height is really important because you can be barely present, bored, anxious, just not there. Yeah, with a Ferrari, with a penthouse, with an incredible lover, with the most amazing food on the planet in the most amazing location, and you're just barely there. You can be totally and utterly there. And just the beauty of a sunset, the view as you drive by and noticing something, a joke, and you are literally enjoying eating a wild blackberry on a trail by the side of a road. You're enjoying that more than someone with all the trappings of excess and luxury, right? And so this is a very, very real dimension of success, well-being, enjoyment. This dimension of the cube. Then there's also the width, which is like how wide is the range of this cube. We've got, is it just a blackberry? Is exquisitely there for the blackberry, or is there the blackberry with a great conversation, with a nice cup of tea, with a beautiful view? It's like how wide is the well-being, the success that you're enjoying? And I think it's also incredibly both absurd and chauvinistic to not primarily focus on human experience. Like, we are human beings. And so it's absurd to label anything successful that does not include our well-being. So that's quite chauvinistic, to look at a label or something out there and think that because it's on the list, that it's more successful than something we're enjoying that's off the list. In other words, in a very real human sense, you may enjoy playing with your dog for 20 minutes more than any other thing in your entire life. Happens quite frequently. Right? That is success, right? You may have a Lamborghini that cost you a lot of money. First of all, you're stressed about spending so much money. You're stressing about whether people get what a big deal it is. Are they really going to appreciate me more for having this Lamborghini? They stress about whether anyone's going to dent it. If their partner drives it, it's like, don't hit the Lamborghini, right? They stress about that. The noise is, of course, incredibly irritating, right? You're trying to have a cell phone. What? Speak up, right? Speak up. I'm in a very noisy vehicle, right? And parking, they're more nervous and there are fewer places they want to park it. Got high insurance and maybe they're stressed or irritated that it's so expensive to insure. And basically, and they're low to the ground so they can't see, clearly what's happening. They're not enjoying the view, right? But they tell themselves, this is a Lambo, right? This is incredible. But it doesn't give them even a tenth of the only real enjoyment they're getting is the thought that they all see that I'm in a Lambo, right? Well, is that they all see that I'm in a Lambo offsetting all of those other irritants enough to have a net positive? Right? And, but there are people in a net negative situation where, sure, they enjoy knowing that everyone knows they're in a Lambo, of course. And maybe they even enjoy the Lambo from time to time. Let's say they like racing, which they can do, 10% of the time when they're not in traffic. Okay, so they enjoy that, and then there's all these offsets that they don't enjoy. So fine. Let's say the Lambo is a net 30% positive. It costs, $300,000. But their dog is a net 80% positive. They have to feed the dog. They have to, train the dog. Going for walks is probably a net positive. People complain about it, but then they're more alive and get more exercise, which is better for their health, right? So all kinds of side benefits to a dog. And, but let's say the dog is a 70% net positive versus the Lambo. Chauvinism will say, yeah, but that's a Lambo, right? And you've got to give, that's a lot of engineering and this and that and the other. That's just chauvinism, right? Valuing engineering for engineering's sake, valuing money for money's sake, valuing externals because a lot of advertisers have spent a lot of money telling you how important that is. That's just chauvinism, right? That's just elevating the external, the stereotypical masculine, above what you actually experience, which is a little bit more feminine, right? The human experiential dimension of success is the inner aspect of success. It's the feminine aspect of success. So in a chauvinistic culture, it's what tends to be minimized. And I've noticed this, by the way, because when I had more free time, time is masculine, so I have more free time, more hours of the day. When I have more money, when I travel more, when I have more sex, right? So those are all external things. other people tell me how great my life is. They don't ask me how great my life is. They don't ask me how I'm feeling it. They don't ask me how much I'm enjoying the sex. They ask me how much of it. They don't ask if I'm enjoying the money. They ask how much of it. They don't ask me if I'm enjoying getting in a plane and flying here and staying in this hotel and moving here. They're asking and looking at how much travel relative to them, right? So they're measuring the external, and I have found it surprising. I don't think that anyone who has been excited about my external life has ever asked about my internal life. And so that's been an odd disconnect, right? Because I'm more interested in my internal life, and I'm tracking things. And I'm thinking, many of the times that I'm traveling, I would have enjoyed being at home more. Why? I have a very nice house set up the way that I like it. The hotels are not set up the way that I like it, right? And so I enjoy, being more quiet. Some of the more enjoyable things that I've ever done is, for example, breathing meditation. And nobody tells me what a great life that I have because I do breathing meditation. But the reality is, if we go past the chauvinism of projection and externals, the reality is that I might have 1,000% higher experience of well-being doing a little bit of acrylic painting and breathing in a 20-minute meditation for free that nobody is around, right? So no money, no sex, no travel, no time pressure, no special location. But the highlight of my day might be free that could be anywhere out in a trail, right? And nobody says, that's an incredible life. In other words, the feminine is invisible in that projection, in that equation. But it is ultimately the most important thing. Meaning, if you are intelligent, if anyone is intelligent, they're paying attention to the level of sustainable well-being and its cost. It's how much time it takes, how much money it takes, how many natural resources it takes, right? In other words, they're paying attention to the cube, the volume of the cube. Because the most intelligent person imaginable can generate very high levels of sustainable well-being with little or no effort at all. They don't need to cut down a forest, mill it all into timber, make $1 million, buy the finest whiskey, buy the finest car, stay in the nicest hotel, $2,000-3,000 a night. They don't need to do that in order to be moderately happy, right? They can generate a very high level of grace, a very high level of presence, enjoyment, walking on a trail that's, on public land and picking a fresh blackberry. The enjoyment level can be higher while the energy consumption, time, money, and natural resources is lower. And although time is constant. Right? Some people have to spend a lot of time to get to a moment of enjoyment, right? I have to drive, I don't want to. I have to park, I don't want to. I have to go to the hairdresser, I don't want to. To sit there as they put chemicals in my hair, I don't want to. And then it's all done, and then I have, 5 minutes of don't I look beautiful? Then I forget about it, right? But that's a lot of time to lead up to a 5-minute window of enjoyment, right? Where there's other people can create a moment of enjoyment out of a moment of enjoyment, right? And so that's the height. The width is the range of enjoyment, right? I don't like that I'm in traffic. I don't like that I'm in a car. I don't like that I'm driving, but I do like that I'm going to see my friend. So I've got this area that I like in the moment, but these 3 things that I don't like. I've got a toothache, my neck is hurting, I hate this music, but I'm glad where I'm going, or I'm happy with who I'm talking to. So this is kind of the width, right? So we expand our width of well-being by a combination of learning to enjoy more of what is. That's really where the growth is. Learning to enjoy more of what is, right? The world is the way that it is, and it always has been and always will be the way that it is. Now, if we can enjoy a tuna sandwich when they're out of portobello mushroom sandwiches, if we can enjoy a mushroom sandwich when they're out of tuna sandwich, if we can enjoy sparkling water or a still water, right? The more we can expand, the more flexibility we have. Like, we can go anywhere, anytime, if we have the skill of enjoyment. Now, this extends to people as well, right? If we can enjoy watching people suffer and stress, if we can enjoy watching people laugh, if we can enjoy watching people work hard to get through their shit, we can connect with anyone, because there's lots of people suffering. There's lots of people working on stuff. There's lots of people in the whole range of the human experience. But I hate that negativity. I want nothing to do with it. Well, now we're into a relatively small sliver of people that we can spend time with. I can see him coming. I've got to go this way because he's coming that way. And he's filled with, you can't stand his negativity, right? You, of course, notice the irony. So I got to go that way, and then no, tell my mother I'm not home. I can't stand her. She's always complaining, Let's see. Once a month, I see this one person who's always cheerful, and thank heavens I can spend time with someone, right? And not be negative, right? And so if we can expand our ability to enjoy more, we have more freedom. So, but this is the width. Now, on the other side of that equation, because it's not noble, right? It's not noble to sit with, the most miserable people we can find in the most miserable location, eating the worst possible food, and then just do this as a spiritual or kind of I'm better than everyone else because, I'm enjoying misery. No, there's nothing noble about that. It just gives you more latitude, right? It's a lot easier and obviously a lot more fun and immediate to also enjoy the best possible food, the kindest possible person, the nicest possible house or hotel, right? We're just talking about the fact that either by making choices, and this would be more of the conventional path, to improve, right? To improve the quality of our lives, including the quality of our vehicles, our books that we're reading. Read a great book rather than a trashy book. But if there's no great book to read, and we can pick up a book and enjoy it rather than judging and dissociating, etc., that's a higher level of success and freedom, right? Because you don't have to say, oh, my whole vacation is ruined. I don't have the book. I wanted that book, right? So our enjoyment expands, both as we make choices that lead to more of what we prefer and we want, as well as we learn the art of enjoying. So what's the art of enjoying, right? So in that dimension of, continuum of art, one of the things that we have to work with is the fact that the world is really big and what we see is very, 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 very tiny. And that's true with anything, right? So let's just pretend we have the judgment that trashy romance novels, first of all, the judgment that they're trashy, and then secondly, that they're a waste of time. There's much more productive uses to spend with one time, studying happiness or investing, right? Important topics rather than trashy romance. But, there's a trashy romance, and you'd enjoy reading something. Well, you can focus on the fact, me, an important person, reading a trashy romance? So you can focus on that, like how incongruous that is, and of course you can work yourself up about that. But you can also look at the moment and just say, I'd like to find words with interesting sounds. Butterfly. Beatific. That's a nice word. Butterfly, beatific, right? Or bumblebee. Let's scan this book and find words that I like, right? That's not how things are done, right? But this is how a cult brainwashes people to not enjoy life, right? That's not how things are done. Right? Well, most people are miserable most of the time, and that is how a cult does things. But you don't have, so if you're learning the art of enjoyment, you go through a trashy romance novel and pick out words that you like. Butterfly, bumblebee, battery. You can make a mantra out of any of them. The bumble bittle battlebee. Let's do that. The bumble bittle battlebee. I notice that I enjoy this immensely. The bumble bittle battlebee. It's wonderful. Where did that come from, right? It came from letting it in, right? Enjoyment, presence, ecstasy, etc., it's all around. Number one. Very rarely is it our body stopping this. Usually our thoughts and our attachments and our worry are imposing misery on our state of being, on our body. It's very rarely the body saying you absolutely have to be miserable. Now, certainly we have done a variety of things over time and engaged with the world in a way to make our body far less enjoyable than it could be. But even so, the bumble-bittle Battleby, right? I just want to smile, right? See, that comes out of nowhere. But it also first of all, you have to have humility. I can't enjoy a trashy romance novel, says the arrogant person, the dogmatic person who thinks they know the only way to read. They think they know the whole genre. They think they know the only person inside. They think they know the only productive use of time, right? It's complete arrogance. The bumble-bittle Battleby. I haven't had this much enjoyment since I was cuddling my dog. So what I'm speaking to is you can focus on a variety of different things. You don't like focusing on sound. You don't like focusing on sense. You have nonsense. It's a very wide field, right? You don't like focusing on sound. You have shapes, right? Let's look at how these letters could build something. Maybe get out a pair of scissors and cut the book up into pieces and build something with that, right? And what has emerged? Any thoughts come from you've never done it before? How do you know what'll happen? Oh, I know what'll happen, says the arrogant person, right? But arrogant people are miserable, right? Arrogance, the presumption that we know everything in this vast, complex world, is arrogant, right? And arrogance is not as fun as humility, as innocence. It takes more effort to be arrogant. I know that, we say, knowing absolutely nothing, right? Then you have to prove that you know it, knowing absolutely nothing. Oh, that's a lot of work, right? I don't know. Now, I'm not, of course, saying that I do this. I'm an incredibly stupid and arrogant and narrow-minded person, right? One of my wife's songs comes on, oh, why does it have to be that song? We had the whole soundtrack, all the songs that I like, and then, oh, my goodness, the lyrics are wrong, all this lamenting of the sadness of love, and it's disgusting, right? So, of course, I don't do this, right, because I'm an incredibly chauvinistic person, right? But even there, we look at that, like, can we enjoy that? Can we enjoy how ridiculous, how hard I work to be miserable? Can we enjoy it? See, I can enjoy that in this moment, right? Because it's so silly, right? You could say, me, arrogant, right? So you can focus on, that makes me this and that. So that all takes a lot of work. Or we can laugh with it, right? We can laugh at the silliness of it all. So then suddenly judgments become silly. The other thing that I can enjoy as I look at this, right? Because we can all learn. So I learn a tremendous amount making these videos. Right? I talk, and then I listen, and I think, that makes sense. Or, I'm not doing that, right? I'm saying this, but I'm not doing that, right? Now, I can collapse down into unenjoyment in this dynamic, because I can say, what if they found out my hypocrisy? What if my hypocrisy isn't good enough, right? So that's a way to take it down, less enjoyable. But here's what I've been doing. I've been noticing, my goodness, look at how much of my lack of enjoyment comes out of my arrogance and fixation. Look at how easy it would be to enjoy more, right? Look at how easy it would be to enjoy more. And that seems like a good idea, right? And then how enjoyable to think that all that enjoyment is just waiting for a little humility, a little less stupidity, a little less effort on my part to be stupid, and I could just be enjoying the bumble battle biddleby. I mean, it doesn't get any better than realizing how easy it is to be happy and how hard we're all working frantically, I know, right? Frantically working so that one day I can enjoy my life, right? Doing this fucked up work with these difficult clients who don't understand. To be here that I do not want to be here, so that I can do this, so that one day I can have some money to do what I want to do, right? Meanwhile, the bumble battle biddleby, right, is waiting, right? All along, right? We could have enjoyed putting attention, right? Like the beautiful sky at the job of the difficult client, right? The nice smile of the difficult client when they smile, right? So there's so many different things to focus on. And so the art of enjoyment is the art of opening up to enjoy in more ways. Like, I'm only going to enjoy if my wife remembered to, clean the toothpaste and this, that, and the other. I could enjoy, there's this rotten bit of dried toothpaste. Right? I wonder if I could enjoy brushing my teeth with a dried bit of toothpaste, right? Maybe it cleans teeth better. It's all crusty, right? It's not smooth. How can you clean something with a really smooth thing? You want a stiff thing, like some dirty, crusty toothpaste. We can't do that. This is an insult. This is a reminder, right? It's all about me, of course. So this is a reminder of how inconsiderate she is about me. Oh, my goodness, right? Or this is a chance for me to scrub my teeth with a stiff bit of toothpaste, right? Or the chance for me to take more time removing the toothpaste before I do something else, to slow down and savor the moment. See, or to look at that handsome fellow in the mirror for longer while I'm getting the bit of toothpaste out, right? So there's so many things to focus on, right? I could say the butterfly bimble battleby, right? You notice it's changing, right? Who knows from what to what, but the bimble babble bobble bobble. There's a whole new chance to say new things, right, while cleaning the toothpaste out, right? So that's the art of focus. Reality is too big to focus on everything all of the time. We are focusing literally on less than 1% of reality, less than 1% of the time. And what that means is there's always something to focus on, right? There's always something to focus on. Now, one of the things that I like about doing videos is it provides an alternate focus. Now, comedians have this with horrible things. Just the way humor works is what's very horrible that happens to other people is funny, and what's very horrible happening to oneself is miserable, right? So we all have horrible things happen to ourselves and to other people, and when, of course, it happens to other people, it's very funny, hilarious. When it happens to us, it's outrageous. Well, a comedian can look at the horrible things happening to them from the perspective of their audience and make more people laugh and make more money and enjoy making people laugh, right? And so a comedian that goes to a horrible hotel, one of the greatest comedic series of all time is Fawlty Towers, right? A series of disastrous events happening to other people. Well, Fawlty Towers first happened to the Monty Python group, right? They stayed in this hotel. There was this horrible manager, and they changed the focus, right? So rather than saying we're the most unlucky people with the horrible manager and blah, 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 they said, let's study this guy. This is great material. We can't write this easily. This is like every day he comes in and does a whole episode for us. Right? He insulted these, he did that, he did this. It's wonderful. Let's stay in this hotel and enjoy writing the best comedy, sitcom of all time, right? So let's do that, right? So that's a good example of changing the focus. Well, in a similar way, if you're illuminating what is, like that's what I would categorize as going on here, this has all been happening to all of us all of the time, for a long time. So what is this? This is just throwing a little light, a little bit of language on what is, right? And one of the things we tend to focus the most on is suffering, and then how to suffer less, right? So every time I suffer, right, that's the impetus of this video, I noticed something that I was suffering more about. And it tied into this theme, and so I sat down and make this. In other words, it goes from feeling stuck or why does nobody talk about this to, oh, let's talk about this, right? So this is the art of enjoyment, right? So I'm enjoying this exploration. But I wasn't enjoying the suffering that led to it, right? So you see the shift from not enjoying to enjoying, right? So that's an art. How do you do that? Right? Well, this is one way. Comedians have another way. Artists painting, like let me paint it, have another way. But to create something out of it, is part of the art of enjoyment. Now, the next thing we have is the length. So the width would be, you can enjoy a BlackBerry, or you can enjoy a BlackBerry and having lots of money and having a wonderful person to talk to and a beautiful car. And so the width is kind of the range, but the length is how much money, how beautiful the car, right? Is it a Lamborghini that hasn't been cleaned for 10 years? Is it a Tesla Model X that was cleaned and fragranced with lemon essential oil just yesterday? I get in, I smell my favorite essential oil. It's been rubbed into the faux leather. I think, what a sustainable person I am, right? Buying an electric car with faux leather. I didn't kill any. I'm just so sustainable. I love it, right? And then I drive a safer car. I'm protecting lives. I love it, right? So, there's the range, and then there's the degree, right? A Model X, not a Y, right? Because then I get 2 screens and this and that and more buttons, and so there's the length, right? I wear nice clothes, but they're also comfortable. They're also organic cotton, So there's the measure of the outer success. So there's the measure of the inner success. There's the width of the outer success. There's also the width of the inner success, for that matter, right? I'm looking at that horrible thing. I'm working on a comedy sketch about it. I'm also working on an educational video about it. So that's the horrible thing. And then there's these wonderful things here, and I'm enjoying that, and I'm enjoying that, and I'm enjoying that. And so there's the width. And then there's the increase, right? It used to be that I was loving a non-organic latte, and now it's an organic latte. And then I used to be enjoying a non-organic latte in this trashy little house, right? There's those judgments again. Now I'm enjoying an organic latte in the finest hotel, in the most beautiful house, right? So that's the length of it. Like you could say, how many areas of our life are we enjoying, and what's the 1 to 10 of each of those areas? Is this car a 1, 2, 3? Is this conversation a 1, a 5 conversation, a 10 conversation? So you have the area. So we have the height, the width, and the length of our success. Now, what prompted this video was I've been doing work on shame. The channel Lazarus has done 4 different waves of infant shame, childhood shame, adolescent shame, and adult shame. And so I'm working with the adult shame tape to lift off some of the barriers to more net enjoyment. And what I noticed is that I did some shame work, and I was able to shift my sleep schedule into enjoy and have access to more of the day, right? So, and that's been something that I'm working with, to have more options for my time. And because of that shame work, I opened up into that. That started to happen, right? So I've got more freedom, more option of my time. Now, at the same time that my outer possibilities started opening up, I felt a whole wave of shame, a whole wave of shameful thoughts and feelings that had been masked, that had been hidden in repressing and blocking time. So first, the time opened up, but then my feeling level went down within the time. So then I did some more work with the shame. And then the feeling shifted within the time, right? And so what I'm getting at is that it's the net volume of well-being that matters, right? So let's say that this is 3 feet, and this is 6 feet, and this is 1 foot. So then we could say that 3 times 6, that's 18 cubic feet. 3 times 6 times 1 is 18 cubic feet. That's the amount of actual well-being. Now, when we're staying consistent with our identity, our pattern of thinking, feeling, speaking, doing, and being, and its net amount of well-being. If we make it wider, where we're enjoying success and well-being in more areas, we will often make it shorter. So we're doing it in more areas, but we're doing it less intensely in each area. So it feels about the same. Now I'm succeeding in all these areas, but I barely notice it, and I don't enjoy my life any more than when I was really enjoying succeeding in this one area. And now I now have this wonderful thing, but it's narrower, right? I have this magnificent car, but of course I can't afford a nice house and this and that and the other because I'm spending all my money on a car payment, right? And so it's getting narrower, but this one area of my life is extraordinary. Right? But again, the net enjoyment is about the same. So as I was expanding my reality wider and longer, I was enjoying it less so that it stayed about the same. The thing is, we all have an identity, a pattern of thinking, feeling, speaking, doing, and being that we call us. And our I, our ego, is always trying to hold on to our sense of us for dear life because the ego doesn't know who it is. The ego feels out of control. The ego is frightened of dying. If we're changing, like, that's not me. That's not me, says the ego. That's the main thing that the ego focuses on. Is that me or is that not me? That's who I am. I know that. That's not me. I'm not doing that. That's not me. Of course, the intelligent person is focused on what brings about well-being, not is it me or is it not me. If it's not me, maybe it should be me if it brings about all this happiness. It's not me, but it could be me. Let's do it. So the thing to pay attention to is the overall volume, right? You can be alone camping on a mountaintop for a year, which would be very, very, you'd think that's not a mansion, that's not spending a lot of money, but you can enjoy every moment, right? Or you can, have the most luxury, anywhere in the world and be frazzled about losing it, right? It's the enjoyment that really counts. And the art of enjoying is absolutely free and usually the most enjoyable things. Playing with a dog, playing with a child, giving something to someone that knows how to receive gifts. The most enjoyable things are absolutely free.